A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland.
It's beginning to look a lot like the holidays as the United States Postal Service unveils its 2008 holiday stamps. Happy holidays, everyone, from the Kristal Hart Show and the United States Postal Service. Continuing its holiday tradition, the U.S. Postal Service added Holiday Nutcrackers and Virgin and Child with the young John the Baptist to its 2008 holiday series. Susan Brownell, Vice President of Supply Management for the United States Postal Service, had this to say about the upcoming season.
We're counting down to the estimated 19 billion cards, letters, and packages that are slated to be delivered between Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve. We're counting down to the 960 million pieces of mail that are likely to be mailed on December 15th, the busiest mailing day of the year. We've printed over 2 billion holiday stamps, nearly 1.5 billion holiday nutcrackers, 600 million Virgin and Child stamps, 25 million Eid, 35 million Kwanzaa, and 25 million Hanukkah stamps. First, we have the enchanting holiday nutcracker stamps, which capture so perfectly the fun of the holiday season. The 4 eye-catching nutcracker designs add colorful, humorous touches to your correspondence this season. In addition, we have our traditional Madonna and Child stamps, but this year there's a new face on the stamp. The young John the Baptist joins Virgin and Child on the stamp. It is a detail of a painting that is housed at the Cleveland Museum of Art. The Postal Service first issued a Madonna and Child stamp in 1978. The theme was so popular that the Madonna and Child has become a fixture in our holiday stamps program.
To talk about the design change for the Madonna and Child stamp is Chief Curator for the Cleveland Museum of Art, Dr.C.Griffith Mann.
It's a very exciting moment for any museum, and especially for the Cleveland Museum of Art, to have its works of art entering the homes of so many people, not just in this country, but far around the world. One of the things I'd like to do is to introduce the museum to those of you that don't know it. The Cleveland Museum of Art is a museum collection that was created at the beginning of the century, the last century. The museum opened its doors in 1916. Its permanent collection is free and open to the public. There are about 45,000 works of art in the collection that span the globe from Asia to the Americas. And one of the great aspects of the museum's holdings are its old masters' paintings. So it was with a great deal of excitement in the museum that we got the news that we had been selected to have a work of art out of the collection, in fact, a really signature work from the collection, represented on the 2008 holiday stamp. A few words about, one last word about the museum is that we're in the midst of a major building campaign at the moment. We are opening our museum after major expansion slated for 2012. Portions of the new building are already open, and we're celebrating our first exhibition in a new exhibition space designed by the architect Raphael Vignoli. One of the things I'd like to do while I'm up here and to take the balance of my time is just to say a few words about the artist. Sandro Botticelli is an Italian artist who worked in the Renaissance period, so we're talking about the 15th century. He was born in 1445, he died in 1510, and he worked in Florence. This is a moment when Florence, as we know it through pictures, and those of you who have had the pleasure of visiting it know it as tourists, this is exactly the century when the great dome is being built over Florence's cathedral. This is an artist who's working in the same generation as Donatello, as Raphael, as Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. And it's a great moment, tremendously innovative time in the history of Italian art. One of the things I would point out in this picture is that it's not every work of art that is well suited for the format of a stamp. The graphic element of the design is something that Sandro Botticelli was known for, his sort of linear style, the nice fluid, clean lines, that sense of grace that you can see coming through in the contours of the figure. It's those silhouettes, that combination of positive and negative space that make this artwork such a powerful object, even on a small scale. Obviously, we can't have the painting travel around the world, but it's a delight to know that it's traveling in this small form into people's houses. It's already been alluded to that there's an additional figure in this stamp, and that's John the Baptist. You can just see him on the left edge of the picture. And it's, I think, entirely appropriate that you have that sense of family coming through so powerfully and touchingly in a painting like this at a moment when people are looking to connect or reconnect with friends and family in the form of all the mail and packages that people will be sending. One final word I would say is that this, for its own day, was a tremendously innovative work, in part because of its format. The painting in its original is actually round. It's what's known as a tondo, and it's about as far across as my arm span. It's on view now in our galleries, and this format is something that first appears in Italy in the middle of the 15th century, and it's specifically associated with the celebration of important family events, birth of a child, a marriage. So it's, I think, very appropriate that such a painting should be featured in a stamp that's really celebrating those connections.
Now, a little history on the Nutcrackers that were custom made for the U.S. Postal Service by Glenn Curator, who based the characters on sketches and notes provided by Sally Anderson Bruce, who later photographed the completed Nutcrackers for the stamps.
I wanted to tell you a brief history of these 4 Nutcrackers and the Nutcracker and how they appeared on the postage stamps. It goes way, way, way back to 1830. When the Nutcrackers, as figurines, were first made in Germany. And they symbolize, they're made from wood, which is a tree which symbolizes strength, and they have that grimace teeth because they're frightening away the evil spirits. So that's why the Nutcrackers always look a little bit scary. That was a challenge on the stamps. As the United States soldiers went over to Europe, they brought mementos back, and one of the things they brought back was a nutcracker. And as the soldiers brought them back to America, the Nutcrackers also became popular in the United States, especially in the 1950s, and then they increased in popularity. So I haven't been working on these stamps since 1950, but I did start working on them in 2005. That's when Derry Noyce, one of the art directors with the United States Postal Service, called me and asked me to photograph Nutcrackers. I was very fortunate because that evening I went out to dinner and my hostess was packing away her Nutcracker collection. I asked her if I could borrow the collection, and I took some photos and I gave them to Derry. Derry and I looked at the photos. The Nutcrackers looked wonderful, but they all looked European. And none of them had any labels. I said, this is a research nightmare. We don't know anything about the Nutcrackers. They're a bit orphaned. Let's find American Nutcrackers made in America by an American craftsperson. And fortunately, I met the Nutcracker man, Glenn Curator.
Sally was very good in directing me with exactly what it was that she was looking for. Of course, I didn't know at that point in time that we were talking about postage stamps. I thought we were just talking about some production runs for some custom Nutcrackers. And it probably was about May or June or so that we realized, okay, these are for postage stamps.
Well, as Glenn said, we've been working on them since 2006. I sent Glenn sketches and designs of the different Nutcrackers. Some people call this one gentleman Santa. I call him Father Christmas. I visualize Santa a bit heavier, but that's okay. Whatever you choose. This is the drummer boy, and I chose an untraditional green because I felt that we already had a red Santa and we didn't need a red drummer boy, so I took the artistic fortitude and I gave him a green outfit and made his drum red. And the king, I thought, had to be in purple. That just seemed like the royal color. And then the captain, the military captain, is generally in blue, but I thought, again, I would just try something different and put the military captain in a yellow suit with some blue trim. So I followed tradition and then I tweaked it just a little teeny bit. I was just given a beautiful Nutcracker watch to wear at the stamp signing. One of the many Postal Service items that you can buy. I hear there are postcards, Christmas cards, and of course stamps.
A special thanks to Preston High School in the Bronx for creating the holiday spirit through their talented chorus. I'm Kristal Hart reporting from the United States Postal Service 2008 Holiday Stamp Unveiling. Happy holidays!